I thought it would
And
probably.
did he invite you to Egypt?
Yeah.
And what'd you say? Yeah.
If I'm going with Graham.
Yeah. I
Or Jimmy
told Graham.
Corsetti.
I told Graham I wanted him to take me a few years ago. He said I can't go. They'll kill me.
Oh my gosh.
So next thing you know, I see Graham's taking people to Egypt. I said, "What the fuck?"
Well, that's nice. It's
I'm
nice
happy
that they
for him.
patched it up.
I went back. I went there last July.
Did you?
Last,
we go.
June.
This
How
is where
was
it,
it?
It's incredible.
this is the part where it starts. You see, so now they're talking blah blah blah, Graham Hancock and whatever, and now he's saying I went there, and then he said it was incredible, and now he's gonna bring up those hieroglyphs that we discussed that have to do with helicopters and whatnot. We'll see how they approach it, because I do think they approach it in a slightly different manner. But let's have a look.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Did you walk away thinking immediately, there's a lot we don't know?
100%.
Yeah.
And what they tell you is complete bullshit.
Yeah. I have a friend who went there, and the archaeologist that showed him it said this is complete bullshit. Like, the narrative
Really?
is complete bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said
They're not
the
burial
scale of
chambers.
it. He said the scale of it and the technology
The
involved in
precision.
construction is beyond our current understanding of how to do this.
And it's not just the pyramids and the Sphinx. The other
No.
temples are magnificent.
Not only that, there's probably a bunch.
Magnificent, yeah, but I think we know how they would make the temples. But magnificent, I agree. Because, I mean, so is ancient Roman art magnificent, you know, isn't it? In fact, if you tell me about statues, and I've seen the originals from both ancient Rome and ancient Egypt, ancient Rome looks better.
Bunch of shit under the ground.
I know. That's what I wanted to go see. But the cool thing was the first temple I went in was what I'd seen on Ancient Aliens, where at the very top of the temple
There we go.
you have one of the most famous hieroglyphs, which has a spaceship, a helicopter, and a submarine up there.
So when he says ancient, he said he subscribes to submarine. No, sir, it's a tank. I doubled down. It's a tank, not a submarine. So he said that he saw it the first time in Ancient Aliens. Ancient Aliens would be History Channel, wouldn't it? I mean, History Channel is complete nonsense, though. Then again, just because it's the first source, then he went to see it himself. That's cool. I would like to go and see it. Absolutely, absolutely.
Clear as you can possibly imagine. And you're
Show
like,
that.
What the fuck is that? How in the... What is that?
Yeah.
Explain that, please. Because that looks like a spaceship, that looks like a submarine, and that 100% looks like a helicopter.
So as you see, between the two at the moment, he is convinced. And when he says, explain that, well, we just watched a video that explained that. So the problem is when you say explain that, but you automatically reject the explanation a priori because it's not what you want to hear, then you're not really asking to explain it. It's kind of a rhetorical question, but reality is... So I think he is more on the convinced side. Is more on the convinced side that it's a matter of aliens, yes. How does Joe react?
So weird. Egypt
Weird
is
is
the
fine.
weirdest place on earth. It
Yeah.
really is. Because
But that's why it needs to be...
Yeah.
What the hell's underneath it?
well, I think that one.
That one right there?
Yeah. I mean, come
I mean, what are we talking
on.
about?
Come on. That's so
Yeah.
crazy.
That's a spaceship or a fighter jet.
some kind of a...
That's a submarine.
It looks like a yacht. It looks
Or-
like one of them
it's a
oligarch
boat,
yachts
yeah.
that they keep
Oh,
getting
listen, yacht, submarine, my money's on tank.
But that's
Impounded.
that's a helicopter.
It looks like a
I mean, come
helicopter
on,
to
what are we
me.
doing?
I appreciate, though, look, there is a difference here. We have to be kind of... He said, that's a helicopter. Joe Rogan said, it looks like an helicopter to me. It's subtle, but there is a difference. His is a categorical statement. Joe Rogan's is a kind of putting in the idea of, it's true, it looks like an helicopter to me as well. It doesn't mean that I believe it's a helicopter, but it does look like a helicopter. You can even see the little, I can imagine Rambo here. Like Rambo sits here with a minigun. That's what I'm imagining right now. So it does look like a helicopter. It's interesting that he makes it as a categorical statement. Let's see.
that they keep getting
But that's
impounded.
that's a helicopter.
It looks like a
I mean, come
helicopter
on,
to
what are we
me.
doing?
It looks just like a helicopter.
Yeah, that was the first
if it's
place I ever-
not a helicopter, what a goddamn
What is it?
coincidence.
And again, as you see, if it's not like a if it's not a helicopter, what a GD, I don't repeat that expression, coincidence. So yeah, once again, I appreciate his positioning more than his, to be honest. Because at least he's bringing in the possibility that it's a coincidence, which, according to what we have seen when it comes to the interpretation of this, it is. But this guy has no doubts whatsoever. And to me, that looks like selective bias. Now, given sometimes selective bias occurs with the very educated too. Don't for a second think that when people are stuck to the narrative, as he's using it, I'm using it in a different way, but still, when people are stuck, and this has happened historically, I mean, people had a lot of problems with Copernicus. They were stuck to their narrative, and when people came along, they were great thinkers and were revolutionary in thinking, they laughed them out of the room. But Copernicus was right. So it does happen sometimes that I think being stuck into one preconceived idea, in his case, this is 100% aliens, of course. There's no way he's not going to see a helicopter here. But sometimes it is also dangerous, less likely, but it is also dangerous to stick to something so much that you forget the scientific method, which is always a method of reevaluating and testing. It's not a method of, we know it all and we cannot be challenged. No, science is challenged continuously, particularly in the presence of new evidence. With that being said, yeah, it looks like a helicopter with Rambo, but I don't believe that it is an helicopter. So there is that. That's the alien overlord. Which one do you think? I think the overlord flies in this. I honestly think the overlord flies in this. This is for like the militia, and the tank is probably piloted with AI. So I think the overlord flies in this. The Grey Lord, he flies in this. That's my money's on that. Why would alien technology look exactly like ours? Yeah, I mean, this one doesn't, but this does actually. So the helicopter, if you look at it that way, it's kind of strange that they would make a helicopter. Why don't they, if they have UFOs, why the heck do they make a helicopter, which, to be honest, looks like an helicopter from the 90s? If we're really going to say, look, I'm going to prove that. I'm going to prove that right now. Ooh, this is what it reminds me of. This is stuff from the 90s, guys. I think. No, not that one, but this one is 90s. Some of these are not, but this one is 1990s. It kind of looks like that. A little bit. Man, I remember this one from the movies. Rambo. Let's see Rambo. Rambo. That's him. From ancient Egypt. Look at him. Look at this ancient Egyptian right here. With his helicopter right there. That's the one, guys. That's the one. I wonder if they have video games. The aliens, I mean. I do wonder if they have video games like Contra, but the alien version of Contra, where they are like the humans are the bad guys and the aliens they're getting invaded by the humans. Who knows? Okay, so already the other day, as we were talking about this, we showed some images, but I think this is the best image that I could find online to kind of discuss and talk more in details about what these symbols actually are. So at the top is this, as you can see here, you have this symbol here, which looks like a bow, which it is a bow. We have this symbol here that looks like a hand, and then we have this symbol here that looks like a mouth. This is the inscription of the royal titles of the pharaoh Seti I. On top of these, so these will become, this one, the bow will become the helicopter, the hand will become the flying tank, and the mouth will become the flying saucer. Now, if we look at the addition from Ramses II, his son, as he adds a layer of plaster on top of these and then has his own artisans to write his kingly titles, because he's the one who finished the temple that Seti I started. So he's adding these symbols here. However, with time, the plaster falls, revealing the underneath existing hieroglyphs that were written by Seti I, and so now they merge. All right, so the helicopter section, as you can see, the top of the helicopter, which kind of looks like the helicopter's blades, is in fact the string of the bow. Then we see that what appears to be the vertical tail end of the helicopter comes from this set of glyphs that were added by Ramses. And as they merge in the front, they create the front end of the helicopter, and boom, you've got this plus this creates the helicopter. Then the hand, as we can see, is now what we are adding at these two lines like this. Basically, what that's going to create now is, if you think that this is the tail end of the tank, then this is some kind of spoiler. If you believe this is the front end of the tank, then this will be the cannon. But as you can see, you can actually clearly see it. That's what's happening with the flying tank. Last but not least, so the mouth now has had these glyphs added. And what these do, they kind of turn it into what appears to be some kind of spaceship. Although then again, if we have to be honest, a vertical tail would make the flying saucer, the UAP, UFO, more aerodynamic, but if it's supposed to fly in space, it's not like it has to deal with air. So already, I don't know why it has a kind of a vertical tail there and some kind of other additions here. But yeah, so basically that's what gives it that shape that makes it look more like a flying saucer. And that's it. So these are the 3 hieroglyphs. This is how they explain it. Let me know what you think.